I cannot believe that Turning Red exists. This movie is the best thing, just the best thing that possibly could have happened. Like, I don't think you understand how much joy this movie brings me. What a directorial debut. Like, where to even start? Pretty much everything about this movie is different, not just from what Pixar has done, but from just anything. I know they're known for their magical storylines, unique designs, and beautiful animation, but Turning Red is just something else entirely. If you showed me trailer footage for this movie without me knowing what studio it was from, my first thought would probably be DreamWorks. This is exactly the type of shit that I've come to expect from them. This movie is insane. Absolutely bonkers in the best way possible, and it's still able to tell a genuine story. Just to give you an idea of what this movie is like though, the main character says the word crap. They directly talk about pads and period multiple times, and there's a scene towards the end where the main girl twerks. Yeah, that happens. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This video isn't going to be very long, but I just have to put myself on record with this as soon as possible, you know, to stay relevant. So Turning Red is the story of Mei-Lin Lee, a Chinese-Canadian middle schooler living in the year 2002. She does what she wants, wears what she wants, 24/7, 365. As she tells you herself in the movie.
And I will not hesitate to do a spontaneous cartwheel if I feel so moved.
You know, usually I'd say that the movie could stand to be a little more subtle in the things it's trying to convey, right? But then I was like, wait, if there's one thing that May isn't,
an epic amount of food,
it's subtle. It fits perfectly. So after the initial shockwave of just pure in-your-face yas energy that was emanating from the screen, I just had a blast. The main cast of characters, May and her dork squad, are so fun. They relish in their own dorkiness. They lift each other up, and their quirks, character designs, and dialogue combine to form some of my favorite Pixar protagonists to date. And so they make the entire experience just a total riot. For some reason, this is exactly the thing that everyone was attacking this movie for before it came out. Like, they saw the trailers, took one look at the flashy shots of May and company being dorky while rocking their early 2000s outfits, and were like, oh no, Pixar is, what is this? Pixar is ruined. Shut up. Shut up. These characters are great, and this movie is great. It's cute, and it's funny, and it's endearing, and I love it. I should note that I would totally understand if someone told me that they found these characters to be very annoying, specifically Abby, but I don't know, I felt like they were all exactly the right amount of what they were. Like, sure, Abby was loud and she screamed a lot, but with her, that's not the joke, right? The joke is not that she screams. She actually says funny stuff while screaming. She also screams in such a way where there's like variety in her intonation. You'll see a lot of other characters in children's media specifically who like scream all the time, and it just sounds like a block of just noise. And Priya's like the opposite end of the spectrum. She never has any facial movement, and I found that to be hilarious. And Miriam's like, well, she's actually probably the most chill of this friend group, and I really liked her. I liked her a lot. Anyway, back to Past Me. I'm also glad I didn't watch any trailers, though, because I went back and watched one, and they gave away, like, a good chunk of the plot. There's also May's mother, aunties, and grandma, who are all so accurate. I'll get to that later. And there's Tony, the mean class clown character, who... Okay, that's actually kind of a spoiler, but I'll just say that I really liked what they did with him at the end. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the voice actors in bringing all these fun characters to life absolutely killed it. Everyone working on this movie killed it. As I found out while watching the accompanying behind-the-scenes documentary for Turning Red, which is how you know I loved the movie, most of, if not all, the crew, because I don't think I saw a single male crew member in that documentary, were women, and that's awesome. Everyone directly involved in the story had a personal connection to May, and clearly had a blast making this thing. And enhancing the 13-year-old girl energy of this entire movie is some stellar anime-inspired animation. The movements, the goofiness and high energy, the particle effects, the line delivery, not a part of animation, but it still reminded me of anime. Oh, and the sparkle eyes, oh my god. It appears we only got a mere taste of what Pixar was willing to do in Luca with their more cartoonish character designs. The animators in this movie did not hold back. The color palette is so bright and exciting, the outfits, just everything pops. The character designs are like, they're like chunky, but it's like, they look just so funny. And Pandame, oh my god. Pandame is the best thing. She's like the Hulk, but like cute. I stole that joke from somewhere. I don't remember where I read that. The presentation is amazing. The way it's shot consistently keeps it engaging, and the soundtrack bangs. And so even in the final act emotional climax, which I wish I could talk about more in depth, but I don't want to spoil anything, that air is able to remain without intruding on the message. Coming back to why this movie is so unlike Pixar, it's really not all that sob-worthy like Onward, Soul, and Luca have been. I didn't cry during this movie. This movie didn't give me we want you to cry vibes like the other ones have. It so clearly sets the tone in a way that other very funny Pixar movies like Monsters, Inc. and Inside Out never have, and more like DreamWorks does, and I was okay with that. But don't get me wrong, the emotional message of this movie was still great. So let's talk about that for a second. May's conflict is that she has to deal with the drama of growing up, having an uptight mother, and middle school. Oh yeah, and the fact that she now turns into a giant red panda whenever she feels any strong emotion, but who cares about that? Such an adorable metaphor for such an ugly thing. So for the setup this movie has, at surface level you'd expect that May's mother is controlling and doesn't accept who her daughter is. And that's true, ain't nothing groundbreaking in the message it's trying to convey, but it sure is groundbreaking in the way it's told. I don't think I'm going to be getting into the specifics of how it's told because then I'd be spoiling stuff, but just know that this movie takes what is a fairly overdone child-parent dynamic and makes it incredibly fun to watch. Like, I appreciated the nuances that this relationship had. See, May and her mother, they get along just fine. They run the temple together, they do chores together, they eat together, they laugh while watching TV together. They have a great relationship, so long as May does everything her mother wants. I feel like so often these movies will just show the parents being asses to their children right from the beginning. And so the whole movie, the kid's like, I hate you, dad, or mom, blah, 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 you don't get me. And the parent's like, oh, but you can't do that, but it's for your own good. But that's not the case in this movie. You can really tell that they love each other. They're shown to have a good relationship before they start arguing over whatever it is. And at no point does May, like, really hate her mother. Her whole thing is that she wants to do this other stuff, like go see BTS without upsetting her mother. The movie showcases May's relationships with her friends, mother, and father, who I kind of forgot about, in just such a wholesome and sweet way. And so even though there was some tonal juxtaposition, I was still able to take every emotional beat in the story seriously. And yes, even in that last scene, which was just awesome. More about that last scene though, you'll know what it is if you've seen the movie. It's very possible to write like a serious argument between two characters while still having, like, that comedic element. For me, I'll always think of something like the scene in Megamind, where Megamind and Minion split up, or the scene in Rio, where Blue and Jewel split up. Tico, taco, yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to go full-on, like, drama, because that's not the kind of movie it is. It totally works. And to top it all off, Turning Red marks the day that Pixar finally made a full movie based on my culture. If you didn't know, I'm half Chinese. I grew up doing a lot of Chinese traditions and stuff, and also have a strict mother and grandmother who both love me very much. Love you, Mom. Love you, Nai. There have been several other recent animated movies taking inspiration from Chinese culture, like DreamWorks' Abominable, Netflix's Over the Moon, and Sony's Wish Dragon. But A, none of those were great movies. Even very good movies. And B, none of them had what I was looking for in a movie about Chinese culture. The strict parent dynamic. It's a stereotype, I know. We come all the way from far country China and born you here in America and you get B+ in English. But anyway, the way this movie explores that conflict is really, really good. And funny. Did I mention this movie's hilarious? I guess I forgot to write anything in the script about how the humor worked for me, so I guess I'll talk about that real quick. From the trailers that are totally awful, anyone who hasn't seen the movie would probably assume that most of this movie's humor relies on exaggeration and slapstick. I mean, yeah, that's most of it. But it is really funny how they catch you off guard with these comedic lines. The deliveries are good, the timing is good, they don't stay in the moment too long, like when May and her mother are talking about going to the math club. And you know, you got this woman who's supposed to be serious and like strict all the time, but out of nowhere she's like, oh, I can come with you because look, I have a double jointed arm, I can move my arm in a circle. That was, oh god. And then there were some of the running jokes, like how obsessed these girls were with this boy band, and I found that very funny, okay? Like, I mean, I live with a 13-year-old girl who is similarly obsessed with certain celebrity boys. There's also the humor that comes from just, like, these characters in general. Like, literally them just being on the screen. The title card of Turning Red is like a full 10 to 15 seconds of Mei just, like, posing and, like, bumbling around and knocking down the letters in the title card, and it's just... I don't know, dude. Humor is very subjective, so if you didn't find these characters funny at all, again, yeah, I get it. And then, of course, there's also the relatable humor that comes out of, you know, the whole Chinese thing. So in conclusion, it is my pleasure to give Turning Red a 9 out of 10. I love it so much, despite its flaws. If I were to list said flaws, I guess there's some minor pacing issues, where like the part where she first realizes she's a panda is kind of rushed. They definitely did that better in Big. And there's a certain montage halfway through where they're raising money. If you've seen the movie, you'll know the one. That feels a little ridiculous, even for this movie. But other than that, it's not rushed to the parts where it really matters. The emotional resolutions with Mei's friends and her family felt entirely earned, the only thing missing from Encanto, which was a huge shame. There was no filler. This movie has no failed attempts. The comedic side of the movie did not detract at all from the emotional impact of the story for me. Every character is charming and likable. And have I mentioned the music yet? The music slaps. They deadass wrote like 4 entire boy band songs, plus a killer score that combines early 2000s music with traditional Chinese music. Now, one complaint about this movie that I've been hearing weirdly often from other people is that it's too derivative and predictable. And I'm just like, what? You thought this movie was predictable. You thought this movie wasn't fresh. I mean, your opinion's your opinion, but I feel like you just gotta be a whole nother level of like just overanalyzing everything to have seen everything in this movie coming. Maybe I'm just stupid. Like, it's a definite possibility. But this movie felt so fresh and original to me. This movie has such unique ways of doing what it does. Like, there's a scene where Mei's friends come over to cheer her up by beatboxing a song by their favorite boy band, and the fact that they're singing and dancing and hugging with no music playing, it just, you can't help but fall in love with these characters. In my opinion, the Chinese cultural element was integrated well and respectfully. This movie is just so new. It's so inventive, yet so grounded in reality. So outlandish and funny, yet so relatable. I just don't know how to describe it. I highly recommend this movie, a very interesting concept, executed extremely well, and I think there's something in it for everyone, whether you are or were the awkward teenager still figuring out who you are, a parent who needs to learn to let their children go, or a dumb baby who likes watching big furry animated creatures bumble around the screen. I totally feel what Mei's going through here. Well, not totally, I'm not a girl, I don't do periods or whatever. And honestly, who won't relate to what Mei's going through here? Just a little bit. Will this become a Pixar classic? Yeah, maybe. But hey, it's got a 3.8 average on Letterboxd and 7.2 on IMDb right now, which I'm pretty sure is relatively good, so I'm hopeful. At the very least though, this movie's got hella meme potential. And even though in terms of overall tone, I would call this Pixar's wackiest movie to date, it still doesn't lose that Pixar magic. As for this movie's placement in my overall Pixar ranking, I'm gonna stick it right up at number 7, between Toy Story 4 and WALL-E. Maybe there's some recency bias involved in this ranking, but I don't give a crap.
Four Town forever.
You never know on my mind. Oh my, oh my.
Hey new friends, thanks for watching to the end of this video. At the beginning I said this wouldn't be a long video, but then I spent like 2 days editing it because I just love this movie so much. I couldn't make a shoddy video. I had to go all out on the editing. Let me know what you thought of Turning Red. Did you like it? Did you not? And speaking of red, what color is that subscribe button? That's what I thought. Hit the subscribe button or I will turn into a big panda and maul you.